coincidence to present this topic, creating CBDR and RC indices to assess the country's indices. As you're familiar, CBDR and RC are the two main principles of the convention, and they are in the main COP decision. And recently in the Ligma call for actions, it's again highlighted, and it's a new framework that complements the CBDR and RCs in light of the national circumstances. It's very important while the countries are preparing their INDCs. And in my study, I tried to create some composite indices both for the common but differentiated responsibilities and the respective capabilities in order to see the equity-based burden sharing among the countries. During this creation, I used the economic, social, technical, and emission rate indicators. Due to the naturality of these indicators, there might be some correlation problem and or double counting problem. I try to eliminate this problem via using some statistical techniques because this is very important. It might cause some overall underestimation problem. When we look at CBDR indicators, I try to find 8 indicators. Greenhouse gas emission is related with the polluter pay principles, and the cumulative carbon dioxide emission since industrial revolution is linked to the historical contribution, and the cumulative greenhouse gas emission since 1990, it is the coming from the discussion about the knowing the harm and historical responsibilities. And per capita greenhouse gas emission is related with the polluter pays principle, egalitarianism, and equality issues. Consumption-based emission is, I try to put these indicators because the carbon leakage and the embodied emissions gain very importance, and I try to find some consumption issues, and sector-specific greenhouse gas emissions also can be used for the CBDR. And in terms of the emission intensity indicators, change of greenhouse gas emissions per GDP and per capita, I think should be in the CBDR because Earth has changed since early 19th. And when we look at the respective capabilities indicators, maybe as you are familiar, respective capabilities very popular in terms of the economic issues such as GDP, per capita GDP, and gross savings. I try to expand to coverage of the respective capabilities by adding some technical dimensions such as research and development, number of patents, the share of the high technological product in the manufacturing industries, and the renewable energy sources in the primary energy sources. Also, social dimension is very important, not only in the respective capabilities, but also for the sustainable development. There are 8 indicators in here. Let's rate unemployment, income inequality, poverty rate, secondary school enrollment, and hospital base. I try to explain these indicators in the next slides. I don't want to spend too much time about the economic indicators, but briefly I can say that it's very important because public and private investment for the low carbon projects need strong economies and resilient societies. For this reason, economic dimension is indispensable. But when we look at the technical dimensions as highlighted in the IPCC's recent report, it says that it's impossible to mitigate greenhouse gas emissions economically without constant research and development. For this research and development, investment and expenditure are very crucial, and the number of patents is a complementary indicator of the research and development, and it is the second complementary indicator of the R&D is high technological products, and the renewable energy is very crucial to substitute the fossil fuel energies. When we look at the social dimensions, social issues are very crucial, and nowadays there is a discussion on the post-2015 development agenda, and particularly on the SDGs discussion, and social issues are being trying to mainstreaming in the development agenda. In terms of the indicators, I try to put the literacy rate and secondary school enrollment rate to measure the basic knowledge and education level of the societies. It's very important because climate change needs to change of the consumption behavior to reduce the emissions. Unemployment rate, income inequality, poverty rate are the critical social development indicators. And there's an interesting indicators, number of hospital beds. I think it's very important because it gives information about the society's basic and social infrastructure level. And I try to use some statistical technique to create the composite indices, and according to this methodology and the variables, these are the CBDR index score for the 50 countries. All the Annex 1 countries are listed in here, and other major emitting countries. As you see, there is no clear divergence between the Annex 1 countries and non-Annex 1, and in fact, some Annex countries are better than the Annex 1 countries. But the CBDR index means the responsibility is high. It's not a desired situation. This map shows the distribution of the CBDR index scores. I want to focus on some institutional perspectives, such as being a OECD member state and EU. As you see, there is no clear convergence between OECD member state and the EU member states. And this table shows the RC index scores. Singapore, South Korea, Israel, and Malaysia have the high respective capabilities index than many Annex 1 countries. And yeah, in this map, I try to focus the northern and southern countries' position. Except a few countries, there is a clear divergence between the northern and southern countries. In this graph, I want to share the four region of this respective capabilities and CBDR's region. As you see, there are four regions, and they have different capability and responsibility level. In the first region, as you see, these countries have less responsibility but high capabilities, and the second region, countries have the high capabilities but less responsibilities. It's not expecting to reduce their emissions too much, but these countries in the second region should provide assistance to other emission-intensive countries. And the third region have both high capabilities and high responsibilities. They are not only responsible for the emission mitigation, I think, but also provide some assistance, such as finance and technology transfer. Interesting point is the region 4. They have very high responsibilities but low capabilities. I think they need some external assistance. In terms of the new climate agreement design and structure, I think the region 2 and region 4 are important because how these countries' positions reflected or how these countries' contribution should be assessed during their INDCs. In order to ensure these questions equity and to evaluate the equity-based INDCs, this type of indices can be useful, and not only for the country's own assessments, maybe UNFCCC try to find some new approaches or methods to evaluate or assess the countries. For example, while they are preparing their consolidated reports based on the submitted INDCs, they might be use this kind of approaches. And I want to thank all of you, and I also thank my supervisor, Professor Sarı and Professor Bayazıt, and my colleagues for their valuable contribution, and thank you for your attention.